Hello and welcome to the video with me, Winner and J2. I'm now doing a timeline video from my uh, series I was doing as the Roman Republic on the Punic War scenario. Or Punic War scenario, I don't know exactly what it was. But yeah, playing as this on the Bloody Europe 2 mod for Age of History 2. And yeah, of course playing Roman Republic right there, which is saying Roman Empire because they formed the Roman Empire. But yeah. You of course start off the scenario here at towards the Carthage with the whole setup and everything there. So yeah, 3,000 turns to go through for this whole thing. But yeah, War of the Carthage, and the only Punic War to be honest, was honestly pretty easy for me for some reason. Considering, yeah, it took all that. There's not really much left of the Carthage to really call a second Punic War at this point. But yeah, basically have to go through another 100 turns or something at this point before anything else really starts happening, considering that's basically how long it takes before the AI really starts fighting any wars, and before I start doing any more expansion. So yeah, you can start seeing some of the wars starting and everything at this point. And I soon should be going through down here to take over these two, I think. Yep, there we go. Took them both over in a single turn. And soon I should be taking over them. There we go. Dealt with the ally I had at the start and started expanding through Northern Africa over here. And then I go to there, and at this point I first encounter this bug here when I try going towards that country, which does not work because darn bug makes it impossible to actually go toward the countries. Which is very annoying, so yeah, I kind of had Carthage finish them off for me before I went towards Carthage, and then I went towards the other countries that was right there just to smoothen out the border. And now, at this point, once I start expanding once again, I'll be going up here going towards all 4 of those countries, which I mainly did because it was just quick and easy to do, plus the fact that 2 of them were allies and another was a vassal of one of them. So it was just better for me to go toward all 4 at the same time, considering they're basically an alliance altogether in the first place. And then had to go and deal with that, which involved going much further north than what I was anticipating to do. So yeah, basically finished that war there, took everything south of the river there, and just created what's left of them as vassals, and now expanding south along there, taking everything that it can, basically, considering it's mostly sticking to the border there, considering for the most part I kind of actually played through this one to try and keep to the borders of the Roman Empire for the most part, and this here is kind of me doing that as well to get everything on that side of the river along there, while also getting the Vandals as a vassal, so currently all 3 of them are now vassals. Went towards countries over here, which basically meant going towards all of that, because they're basically just a giant mess of allies and vassals there, so I went and did that, went and took, annexed everything there, left the rest of it as a vassal and all that. Continuing eastward to deal with all this here, got the entire coast along Spain there basically, and all that. Another time I encountered a bug where I couldn't go towards the country, but I was able to eventually for some reason, and quickly went through and finished everything off on the Iberian Peninsula, and after doing all that and getting profitability done, I moved back over here to France to actually finish things off over here. Taking over all of that, annexing my vassals before releasing the Vandals once again as a much larger single vassal at that point, so I don't have to deal with multiple vassals. And I then do go and actually take over those countries and give that land to them as well, just to make the borders look a bit nicer around here. There we go. And then immediately afterwards start my invasion over here. And taking over all that, considering it's kind of a mess of vassals and allies there, along with that area, which kind of just made it where I just went for it all. And I didn't actually realize at the time that I ended up getting that bit of land from one of them. But I did get that. And at this point I kind of start the beginning of when I deviated from the actual borders of the Roman Empire, considering it was just a giant mess. I didn't want to deal with a vassal here or something, or annexing the Vandals again, and all that. So I just decided to annex it all, considering the borders, for the most part, actually look kind of good. Going along there, just need to take that chunk of land from the Vandals there, and the border will be pretty smooth, considering the border goes along here, considering that there is a different country. That just has a very similar color or shade of red as I do. But yeah, at this point, once I actually get things going again, and I take that from the Vandals and take that country over there, I will basically officially be starting my next part over here. That takes 1,000 turns at the very least. Yeah! As you can kind of see, I've kind of started things here. I got both of them to go towards each other, kind of, because, yeah. I wanted to deal with stuff over here, considering I kept getting that bug where I couldn't actually go towards countries. End up going towards them eventually. And then at this point, I literally couldn't go towards any country that I bordered. Not a single one of these countries over here I bordered I could actually go to war with. Which became quite a bit of a problem, considering it's kind of hard to expand when you can't go to war. But I kind of found a way around it eventually. Which you should be seeing if it come up soon, I guess. But first I'm going to have to take over that country before I actually do anything about that. Yeah, there we go. So at this point I kind of do a little test over here, creating that as a vassal, having them fight that country, in which they failed, but it was just a test to see how that would go, so I went and created Sparta as a vassal, mainly just due to the fact that they are red, and a bit of a similar color, shade of red as well. So yeah, created Sparta as a vassal here with all of the land in the Middle East that I got, and started having them fight wars for me, in which I did have troops along all my borders there as well, considering despite the fact that I could not actually go to war, all the countries still had to fight my troops as long as they were on the front lines. So I managed I had to keep all my troops on the front lines to make sure my vassals over here would never lose. Which at this point Sparta has won that war and got them as a vassal for me, which allowed me to just annex them and release Sparta again with all that land, but I keep a bit more over here in the Middle East just because mostly just due to the fact that I didn't really want to deal with all the province ability in one go afterwards, so just keep a little bit of land, deal with province ability there, so I don't have to do it all later. So it wouldn't all take even longer. But yeah, at this point I have started a war between those two, and I was actually able to annex that country there, which is quite nice. Hometown 20 comes moving troops forward through that area. And at that point they capitulated, they're now vassal. Me. Parents, I was able to actually go towards that country there, which is very nice, and yeah. I have them go towards that country next there to finish all that stuff off. And around at this point, I think, is when the Vandals end up declaring independence from me. Which, to be honest, I didn't really think was that bad. It was kind of a bit deserved, considering the amount of time at this point I have been spending over here in the Middle East, completely ignoring Europe. So it's kind of deserved, I guess, due to the fact that I wasn't actually paying attention to Europe at all. But yeah, got all that stuff, annexed them, gave that land towards Sparta so they could try and go to war with them. Didn't actually work out, so I ended up annexing Sparta and creating the Persian Empire or something. Persian Empire over here or something. So they can actually deal with wars. Though before I did any of that, I ended up sending an ultimatum to that country there and ended up taking that lands there, which is the only land I could actually see, and the reason why they actually still have lands over there is because I couldn't actually see it at the time. But yeah, got the Persian Empire there now, and they will go through and finish all of that up for me. And once that's done, I, of course, annex them all and spend a while dealing with province stability. Yeah. There we go, the war started over here. There, good. Annexed all that. Time for this one. There, and all that stuff. So, that is all of that stuff done. Next thing I do after dealing with the rest of the province stability and everything is to go over here, take over all of Britain basically. As you can see, I've already started, and while I am doing all of that, I kind of have these countries over here going towards some countries, which is mostly just this one here, as you can kind of tell. But yeah, I created the picks right there as a vassal because I couldn't actually go toward the country that was right there, but it didn't work out, so I just started sending ultimatums to them all, considering all these countries over here absolutely hated me, and I could actually send ultimatums to them. So yeah, dealt with all that, and soon you'll start seeing a much quicker rate of expansion over here. So much so that you would think I was actually playing as them at that point, considering how quickly they started expanding. But that was actually entirely the AI asked me to do that for some reason, as I just kept sending trade deals with them to go to war with more countries in the area. I'm honestly surprised at how quickly they actually were able to do that, but yeah. At this point, I am going to be going to war with the Vandals, which has the Saxons as a vassal there along with that country as well. And I had both of them go to war with the Saxons. Just kind of clean things up a bit. But kind of had unintended consequences, I guess, with them controlling Denmark, basically. Which was not really my goal, considering I just wanted them to take the land that the Saxons had right there. But, whatever. But at this point, it's going to be wrapping up very quickly, considering they literally do not last very long at all. As you can see, I didn't get to their capital before they capitulated to me there. And then I just had to finish things up with the last few countries that I couldn't actually get them to take over. But, yeah. There is the end of this timeline video here. 3,000 turns, 1,000 of them I spent not actually fighting at all over here in the Middle East because I couldn't actually go to war. But yeah, this is the shortest series I've done yet for the darn game. I honestly don't think I'm really going to be doing another series on this version of Bloody Europe. Bloody Europe 2 mod here, considering that bug with not being able to go to war with countries kind of makes it very annoying to play. So if I continue doing the more series on this Bloody Europe 2 mod, it will probably be on the previous version I was using, considering I do still have that installed, thankfully. So yeah, I probably roll back to that version of this mod if I continue doing more for this. But personally, I would actually like to start looking at some of the other mods if I can actually find any actual downloads for them. But yeah, there is the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.